Hello, people. Welcome to yet another wonderful episode of the Unmasquerade Show. Here at the Unmasquerade Show is a place where it is a safe space to be vulnerable, it is a safe space to share, it is a safe space where you can be yourself and no one will judge you. Well, if people have something to say, they can only be able to speak after you have spoken your story and you have shared your truth. And today we have a very special guest, just like every other guest that comes on this show is special to us. And she has an amazing story, a very inspirational story that she would like to share with us today. I hope that this story helps someone if you're in this situation and you need some kind of help, you need anyone to talk to, if you're going through any situation and you need help. So, at this very point, I will take this very beautiful opportunity to allow our beautiful guest introduce herself.
I'm a nutritionist by profession and I'm a public health specialist and I work in Kisumu.
Thank you so much for being on our show today. It's
Thank
really
you.
a pleasure. There's so many people who are going through what you're going through, and because you've shared a bit about it, there are so many people who are going through what you're going through and they don't have the courage to speak out. They probably don't understand even what is actually going on.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being vulnerable enough and bold enough to share your story. So without taking so much of your time,
Yes.
I'll just let you kick in. You can start from the top, the bottom, wherever you feel comfortable to. So please.
Yes, thank you so much. And I want to share my story. And it is not out of malice, it is just so that probably people who are out there who need probably a shoulder to hold to lean on, or who need to know where they can tap into their support system so they can be able to pull themselves up. So I got married at a very early age, I think at around 22. I thank God I had finished my diploma, and luckily, by the grace of God, I got a job with the government. So, because my dad died way early when we were very young, there was that void. There was always that void of loneliness. So I was like, when I get a job, the first thing I'll do is to get a baby, so that at least I cannot be lonely. So I really wanted a child, whether in marriage or out of marriage.
You were ready. You were yearning for a
I was
baby.
I was yearning for a child because I thought, and I believe that child would give me purpose and companionship. Yes. So I met my ex. We had dated before when we were in campus, and then we broke up. And then now, when we met some time later, I was very born again. And I think that is what he saw. He saw a different me from the lady he knew way back. And he thought that I had changed, and I think I would be a very good wife. And so I got pregnant, and we decided to move in together, even before formalizing everything. At the back of my mind, I was like, I could raise this child alone, but because I grew up without a dad, I was like, I think my daughter would need a father present.
You did not want history repeating itself.
Yes, I did not want, because I knew the pain that I had endured. Though I really thank my mom, because after our dad died, she raised us single-handedly, and she did an amazing job. But me and my dad were the best of buddies. So I think I mourned my dad even when I was up to when I was in campus, because he died when I was 6 years old.
Oh, that's
So
sorry.
that long time. So it was a really big gap that was in my heart, and I didn't want my daughter to go through the same thing. So I said, fine, the baby is here. So we moved in together and we started life. So I think a year into the marriage, we started having a few issues here and there. There were a bit of trust issues because mainly there are people, before you start the journey of marriage,
Yes.
there are people who you've been with before.
True.
Yes, so it takes time to cut those bonds. So initially, there was a friend of mine who were very good friends. but I think his intentions towards me were different. So a year into the marriage, he had just finished campus, gotten a job. So he started texting me the way he wanted us to have a relationship way back, but I rushed into marriage, a lot of things. So my ex got those texts from because I was not hiding my phone, so he got those texts from my phone, because there's this kind of a person who would go through my phone, go through stuff. So he got those text messages. And I tried explaining myself, but I think it did not work out. He still carried forward that he thought it was a betrayal, but I was telling him that you can look at the thread, the messages. My response is not somebody who is giving in to anything, but he took it as a betrayal, and from there he started having insecurity issues, a lot of them. So all the time he would bring back, when we had arguments, he would bring back the issue and say, you remember you were texting so and so, you people had text messages, you cheated on me. And I was like, it was not cheating, it was text messages. And I explained how they came about. So the insecurities continued until I was not allowed to even talk to his brothers directly. When we go home, he would tell them, if you want anything from my wife, you have to tell me.
Why, sorry to interrupt you, but how did it get to that extreme, to the point you're being alienated from like family and all that?
One, initially I could not understand. I thought he was protective of me, and I saw that as love and not being alienated. So even his friends, I think I knew two of his friends at that point, and it reached a point he didn't even want me to engage with his friends, so I stopped, just out of respect. And I remember I was also alienated from the friends I had, and he approved two friends of mine. He only approved two friends. And family, I couldn't go to see my mom as often as I wanted to. So I didn't see it as a wrong thing. For me, I thought I'm protected, I am loved. But it reached a point that it became so bad that I was like, how do you view me as a person?
Yeah.
It's like there's a certain way you see me as a person. Maybe you don't see me as your wife, but you see me as, I don't want to call it a sex toy, but the overprotection came to a point whereby if I had a picky person who carried me regularly, or I could send them to pick things for me, it reached a point he would be like, no, mumezoeana sana na huyu mtu, takes my phone, deletes the numbers, gives me a new person.
Wow.
So it reached a point I was like, do you view me as someone who is very cheap? Do you view me as someone who can be easily taken advantage of? Because the being overprotective was too much on my side, and I felt demoralized at that point.
Did you feel devalued?
I felt devalued because I thought, at some point I thought, probably when he sees me, he thinks I can have sex with anyone. Yeah, because I remember there's a time I really felt hurt. My neighbor had some siblings of them come over. I remember that boy was in Form 3. So I was airing clothes outside on a Saturday. And then that boy was there, and then he said hi. And then my ex was like, why are you talking to this young boy? And akikukatia. I'm like, this is a kid. I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I think I might be old enough to be his mom. So the insecurities went on and on. And I couldn't even, at times we have trainings out of town. So I couldn't even go for trainings unless I produce a letter or an invitation to take me to that training. So I was trying to do that to make him to trust me more, because I thought that probably he doesn't trust me enough. And every time he would go back to that story that happened a year after the text messages, so a year after we got married. And I would share a letter on email and tell him, next week we're supposed to go for this training. This is the letter, I've been invited. And I remember when I used to go to those trainings, he would make a WhatsApp call, a video call, and then he's like, show me your room, Ebu, show me the bathroom. And I thought, like, do you think I'm in the room with someone else? Like, why would you make a video call when I travel?
Yeah.
And when I'm around, or when probably we're just in town, you don't make video calls. So that continued for some time, until a point I felt that it was too much for me. I couldn't take it anymore. And I couldn't have even calls from colleagues after a certain point in time, after probably 8, because any male colleague who would call me would think we're having something. Any male colleague who would even text me would think we're having something. So he would just wake up randomly during the night and now make me sit, because he would go through my phone, go through my text messages, go through WhatsApp messages, go through Messenger, every single thing. So he's this kind of a person whereby he would, when he doesn't find anything, he'd piss him off.
He gets irritated.
He gets irritated. And when he finds even a simple text messages like, hi, how's your day been? He would think I'm having a relationship with someone. And I told him, I'm in a space where I meet a lot of people and I talk to a lot of people. So you cannot restrict me not to talk to A, B, C, D. I know that I'm married at that point, and I know my boundaries. And I felt that he didn't really believe in me as a woman. He believed that I can be easily swayed, I can be easily slept with. Though there are times he used to verbally abuse me using those statements. Oh, you see, no one can sleep with you apart from me. I'm the only man you can have. But on the other end, he feels insecure why I'm talking to other people or why I'm relating to other people. So the insecurities were so bad.
And let me ask you, because you mentioned that he controlled how your work, who you talk to, how you did your work. How was it for his side?
On his side, I think I reached a point.
Okay, in terms of
Control.
like, did he give you the same accountability from his end? Assuming that he also had a job or was working, did he also give you the same accountability, or how was that like?
I didn't really ask for accountability from his end, because one, I didn't ask where he was going, what he was doing, and I didn't look at his phone. But the time I started looking at his phone, that's just to get back at him, because now you're looking at my phone. Even me, I want to look at your phone. But I think, I think there's a time I looked at his phone and gotten some messages. I usually wake up at 3 a.m. to pray. And that is when I sneaked in and picked his phone and started looking at it. And I remember I told God at that point, I think this is the last time I'm looking at a man's phone. I do not want stress. I don't want pressure.
I can only imagine what you found.
Yes, because what I found really hurt me. But is this kind of a person, you would ask him something and then he would turn it against you.
Yeah.
As if you're the one who, like, you made a mistake going into his phone. What are you looking for? But him, he would take my phone at any time he wants and dig to find anything he wanted to find. And that period, I remember there's a time I told him if we should go for therapy and probably try to find the cause of the insecurities, because I can't remember I apologized a million times for those text messages that he found way earlier. I remember I used to apologize.
But let me ask you, apologizing for those messages, was there really something for you to apologize for? Or were you just apologizing because he felt you did something wrong and you wanted to make peace?
Majorly, I wanted to make peace, because he used to say that he does not trust me because of those messages. And remember, that was way back, and my response to those messages didn't mean like
there was nothing suggestive.
There was
from your
nothing
end.
suggestive. I remember I was even asking that guy, "You waited this long to tell me about how you feel, yet you know very well that I'm married." And I think what pissed him off is he called the same guy, and that guy told him, if you cannot take care of your wife, we will take her away from you. So I think those are the things that really made him think that there was something else.
Okay.
And I tried my best to apologize a million times so that these insecurities should not go on. And I think it did not just work. It went on and on until now. It reached a point now he became a bit physically violent and verbally
So he was
abusive.
violent towards you?
He was violent towards me, but that was now way back after the wedding, because for me, when I stayed with him, I knew marriage is for life. Like, I didn't know that I would get into marriage and leave. That was not my intention, and that is not like what I knew. So that's why even we did the wedding and he went to see my parents around 6 years after living together.
Wow.
Yes. Because if I wanted to leave, I would not have made him go through that commitment with me. Yes. So after the wedding, I thought we had issues. I thought our issues would end when now we go into the wedding. So I remember the night of the wedding, the night before the wedding, I was having visitors. I was having the flower girls coming in from another town. I was having maids. And because we were going to sleep at my aunt's place in Mamboleo, so I was shipping everybody and clothes and everything to the same place. And I was also shopping, making my hair, those last touch things. And I was in church that evening, just ensuring things are done, decoration is done. Actually, I was doing all those things by myself.
Wow.
So I remember when the last means of transport took my sisters and a few things to my aunt's place, then my mom told me we should meet at a United Mall. She wanted me to choose something that she would buy for me. So when we met there, then we did everything that we could do with my mom. Then now we went to Mamboleo. So that night, in the morning now, after the wedding, and then now when we're supposed to go for a honeymoon, the same piki person who used to carry me is the one who gave me a tuk-tuk to ferry things. And he came in the morning because I wanted to pick a few things in town and meet him in town. So we were going different directions. And then he said, "Oh, no wonder this piki person even gave you a tuk-tuk to ferry your things to Mamboleo. What relationship are you having with him? Did you sleep with him before our wedding night?"
Wow.
And that really surprised me because, like, I'm not demeaning anyone, but I was like, how would you accuse me
Yeah.
of even having sex with someone before the wedding?
Yeah.
The way I was stressed and doing everything by myself. And how would you accuse me of sleeping with a piki person who used to run errands for me before the wedding? And those things are the things that pissed me off. And I remember I arrived at the church at 1 on that wedding day. I was so tired. I woke up in the morning, got dressed, and went back to sleep.
Wow.
Because we had quarreled on the phone. There were just
were
issues.
tired, yeah.
I was tired. I was exhausted. But I remember my sisters always tell me that I like to take care of people first before I look at myself. I was like,
Did you at that point consider to cancel the wedding?
I did. But I was like, people have come from different places. My mom is here. And I regard my mom in high esteem. I don't always want to cross her.
Yeah,
Or disappoint her at any point. So I was like, my mom's friends are here. Family is here. Like, people came very early. And me, I showed up at 1. And I was already tired. But I was like, probably this is just a phase. It will end. If I've endured this for 6 years, I think things will be better. Probably after the wedding. Probably it will be calmer.
He'll be more reassured because now you're officially tied to him.
Yes. So after the wedding, we started having issues. He just started having I don't want to call them emotional outbursts. And I want to call them probably anger. And I thought at some point he had anger issues. But I was not sure because one time he would be fine. The next time he's just changed and he's quarreling and he's angry. So I didn't know if it was from my end or it was his own life frustrations. I didn't know where that was coming from. And he started becoming physically abusive now. And even when he was quarreling and shouting and abusing me, he would even do it when my daughter was there. And that is when I knew this one was going to be so bad.
Sorry to interrupt, but how did your daughter react in those situations when she was seeing you being physically abused? I know she also witnessed you being verbally and emotionally abused, but how was it for her watching you being beaten around?
My daughter would cry and talk to the dad and tell the dad, achana na mami, achana na mami. She would cry and then anaambiwa, go to your room. And then she locks herself in there. But I think nature has a way of blocking things. My daughter loves her dad. It's like she didn't see those things.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm just praying they will not affect her in future when now she starts to remember things that were happening. So he became so angry. I don't know if it was angry with life or angry with me. I didn't really understand because it became worse compared to before the wedding, and after the wedding things became worse. And I think that is the first time he hit me. The time I remember I came from church. I used to fellowship at Repentance, so we had these meetings that people go to. So we were in Nakuru the entire December up to way late. So when he came home with my daughter, I remember he picked me and threw me on a wall. And he was like, people are spending time with families, wameenda kuomba. And I was like, I went to pray. I didn't even go to stay with someone else or to see another man. I went to pray. So that is the first time he hit me. And I could not understand why he was angry. And at times I thought probably it's because he told me stories about his family. And the way he was behaving is the same way his father used to behave from the stories he
Now,
used
let
to
me
share.
ask you. Sorry to interrupt, but let me ask you. When he hit you that first time, you say the first time was when he threw you against the wall.
Yes.
How did that feel? What went through your mind? And first, just tell me, how did that feel in that moment? This is someone who is supposed to be your husband. He's someone who is supposed to protect you. He's supposed to be the head of your home. He's supposed to lead and guide you. And then he does this to you. How did that feel?
I felt scared. I felt unprotected. But I felt that I could not share this with anyone because I could not share it with my mom because of certain reasons. I don't know how it will be taken when I share that he hit me. I could not talk to my friends because I was trying to also protect him so that they don't view him in a certain way. And
so you did not take any action?
I did
Tell
not,
anyone, go to the police, nothing?
I did not take any action. I did not talk to anyone.
But how did you move from that incident as a couple?
After a day or two, he apologized. He said he didn't know what came over him. He was just angry. And I said, fine. If you've apologized, I think we can move past that. Then I remember the second time he hit me, a friend of mine had just invited me to have lunch with him. And he was like, why is this guy inviting? Still going through my messages. Why is this guy inviting you to have lunch? I'm like, we are colleagues. And we were in the office and he wanted us to go have lunch. And no, you're going to have lunch and discuss how you're going to have sex. And I was like, talking to a man does not equate everything to sex. It's not all about sex. You can have conversations with people of the opposite gender without thinking about sexual issues. And I remember that day I was supposed to go home. It was Easter weekend. I was supposed to go home to see my mom. And I was also supposed to go and distribute some foodstuffs because I have a CBO in Nyalenda and I do a bit of charity. So he slapped me severely until I remember when I came back from home, I had pain in my ear, both my ears. And when I went to hospital, I was told probably you have pain because of trauma. Maybe something hit you. But I didn't say that I was slapped.
What made him do that? What triggered him?
Because he saw a text of a man inviting me to have lunch.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember I was given drugs for my nerves for the ears to take for around 2 weeks. So I told him, I think the way you hit me really affected some nerves on my ears. So I've been given drugs to take for 2 years. Then he was like, you're the one who made me hungry. Why would someone text you to go have lunch with them? I'm like, it was just a text. It was nothing. And I think I really tried as much as possible to prove to him that there was nothing happening between me and the man he was accusing me of. I tried so hard to make him trust me. I would come home at 6 without fail, 6 p.m. without fail. And it reached a point I was so tired of going home. I would come from work, I would come from Kajulu, go to district hospital and sit at the waiting bay, contemplating going home or not going home. Because home was not comfortable for me. It reached a point I became so scared.
You didn't feel safe anymore.
I didn't feel safe. And when he could just, at times he comes from town and he's hungry. You talk to him and you ask him, what's up, what happened? And he became so hungry that I would even hide knives. I would take all the knives and hide in my daughter's bedroom. So that if anything happens during the confrontations, he can't think of taking a knife to hurt me. I'm not saying he took a knife anytime. No, he did not. But at the back of my mind, I felt that could be a possibility.
Allow me to ask, did he ever make any death threats to you, or was it just because of how the increase of the violence and how he got when he was violent that you felt the need to hide the knives? Or did he at some point actually threaten you?
No. He didn't threaten me at any point. My fear was I didn't know what he could do when he was angry.
Okay.
I think in the long run, I came to realize that probably his insecurities were more than just me being open with everyone. And I think it was because I was the breadwinner and I was doing everything in the family.
You were the breadwinner?
Yes, I was.
Okay, we all know what breadwinner is, but does that mean that you were actually the one providing and taking care of everything in the home?
Yes.
So that means he was staying at home.
No, he was not staying at home. I tried to support him to do a few businesses here and there. And I think the last business I supported him to do really picked up. But that was like way, I think, after 4 years. But he didn't really... He's someone that I can't even understand up to now. He didn't really take the initiative. Me, I was doing that so that whatever he gets from his business helps me to take care of bills, because I was the one who was paying most of the bills. So
did you also do that so that he doesn't feel like he's inferior, that he also has something to do and that he's bringing some income into the home?
I did that so that he can bring income and help support me, because it was exhausting. Doing everything in the house, paying all the bills and doing almost everything. But he didn't feel... I think he thought at the back of his mind, I got the house. Like I got everything covered. He should not even chip in. Because when his business was picking up a bit, because he was doing interior design, he would focus more on his family rather than focus on us. And I remember there's a time I told him, as much as you have parents, I'm not telling you that you should not support your parents. Because he used to make this joke and tell me, your mom is working. So even if you don't support her, she's sorted. And I was like, that's my mom. I cannot sacrifice supporting your parents 100% and I don't support my mom. And he was like, my parents are not working. So he would get money and support his parents and forget he has a family.
Okay.
Forget he has a wife, he has a kid, he has bills to be taken care of. And he would tell me, my parents come first. And I was like, even if your parents come first, you are a man and you also have a family to take care of. So it reached a point I didn't want to argue. I'll just do everything. I remember a friend of mine told me that, see, you just stop paying rent. I stopped for 3 months. I'm the one who had arrears. I had to pay for 3 months. Because even if I don't pay, it will not be paid.
Yeah.
So I think at the back of his mind, he knew that I got everything sorted. Whether he does it or he does not do it, I will still pay. And I was thinking, I have a child.
Yeah.
I cannot stop buying food. There's a child in the house.
Yeah.
I cannot stop paying rent. There's a child in the house. I cannot stop paying school fees for my child. She has to go to school. So I think probably he felt inferior. But on my end, looking through that relationship, I didn't make him feel inferior at any point. I tried to protect him as much as I could so that it does not come out that I'm the one who does everything. I think my mom knew way later when now my sisters came to visit, and I think they saw a few things. And I remember my mom told me, until you get tired of taking care of a man, you will let me know.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So when the violence became too much and I became so scared, I started talking to a few friends, and one of them told me her story, how she left the marriage because of physical violence and a lot of issues. And I thought probably I have an alternative for living.
Yeah.
And that time my shosh became unwell, and my mom was in town most of the time. And I remember she would see me almost every single day, and now she would see days that I'm stressed, days that I'm not okay. And one time she put me down and asked me what was going on. I think the first thing, my payslip fell on the ground, and she picked it and she told me.
How long was this after you had been in marriage?
It was the 8th year.
And all this while you'd never told your mom what was really going on?
I never told her anything.
Wow.
And she told me, why are you getting this little money? Why are you taking loans? And that is when I told her, because I was taking loans to try to support him, try to support myself, and trying to invest here and there. And I think those investments went down the drain. I don't have anything as per now. But when I told her the things that I had been going through, I remember my sister told me that I've never seen mom cry.
Wow.
The only time I've seen her cry is when her mom died, and before that, about your marriage. She felt a lot of pain for me, and was really bothered why I could not talk to her. But I was trying to protect the man that I thought would live with me forever. So that, because it's just evident, if you start telling your relatives about your partner, there's a way they view him or they view her, and probably they may not welcome him or her depending on what is going on.
Yeah.
And that is when my mom told me, she made a statement and said, "Inya dak, but kotamre, leave." Meaning, you are a wife, you can stay because of everything you've endured and done to hold the family together. But if it is difficult, do not struggle, just leave.
How did that make you feel, getting those words from your mom that, hey, it's okay to walk away and you don't have to die in this so-called marriage?
They gave me hope because I thought I would be told. Initially in church, I talked about this to my pastors, and I remember I was told I would show a bad example to young people. It will not be good to leave a marriage, especially after a wedding. So I didn't know which way to go. And when my mom told me that, I was like, this is my mom. If she can tell me that, then I think I have hope.
Yeah.
I can do this.
You felt it gave you a sense of liberation?
Yes, yes. And I remember now my mom is the one who told my sisters. And my sisters were like, all this time, we even meet in town, but you just put on a brave face. Even if you ask some people that I work with, Nobody knew I had problems. At work, I would be all smiling. But when it reached 6 in the evening and I'm going home, I would be just shattered. So I planned to leave. I saved money. I looked for a house. I remember that time I was running on loans, and I think I was earning around 10,000. And where I was staying, we were paying around 5,000. So I think I would manage. But now I'd stayed there for the longest time, way back when I was in campus.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking for a house after around 9 years. The market rates have gone high. There is no cheaper house in this town. So I remember I got a house in Lolwe, and a one bed. I just told my mom I would start with 1 bedroom because it's just me and my daughter. So I saved up money and paid, and finally decided. I think I paid an extra month that I didn't stay in that house. So when now I decided to leave, I remember when I was packing throughout the night. I packed throughout the night, and I was just packing clothes.
How did you break the news to him that you were leaving, and how did he take that?
I started telling him like 2 months ago.
Okay.
Even before that time, I think when we were having issues, I told him, could we try staying apart? Maybe look for a job in another town, and so that we can have some space. Then I think we talked about it, and it was just a good conversation. My aim was I wanted him to be independent as a man, to learn how to like take care of us. Because if he works in another town, even if he's sending us 500 shillings, but there's some effort that is coming with it.
Yeah.
And also it will bring a bit of peace. Because it reached a point I felt that I think I needed to die before I left.
You got suicidal?
I got suicidal, and I felt that I was the bad person. I was the one making him angrier. So I wanted to die so that he could have peace.
Wow.
I thought I could not manage. I thought I was bringing a lot of chaos in my daughter's life. I felt that if I was not living, if I was not present, he would have more peace than me being present. And I remember there's a time I locked myself with a jiko inside the house, and I think that is the day I almost died.
You
But
did
he
it
found me.
intentionally because you
Yes.
didn't want to wake up.
Yes, I did it intentionally. Unfortunately, he found me, and I was taken to hospital. But I wanted to die. I knew suicide was sin, but I prayed to God to die.
After this suicidal attempt, did you see any change from him, any act of remorse or anything from him?
He's someone who used to be remorseful 1 minute.
Yeah.
The next minute, he's just a total different person. So the remorse was
For sure?
just, I think for me was for sure, because it was not intentional that I'm changing to be a better person. So I think after telling him that we needed to stay apart for some time, he told me that I found a man who is better than him, who I want to go stay with. So I shelved that conversation. But now when I made a decision to leave, I tried telling him pole pole, I think I need space. I don't think I can survive. Because if I had stayed in that house any longer, I don't think I would be alive at this point. So he didn't take it positively. He was like, he's taking it positively this time. The next time, you found a man who is better than me. That's why you're leaving me. And that was not the intention.
Yeah.
It was not about any other man, but it was about our situation. So I remember I packed the whole night, and he was quarreling me the whole night. And I was so scared of even sleeping because I didn't know what would happen when I sleep. So I stayed up in the sitting room packing. That is where I sat till morning. I remember when I got a tuk-tuk, he carried my clothes, put them in the tuk-tuk, and I left. The only thing I left with are clothes and a few utensils, my daughter's clothes and my clothes. So after that point, he used to throw tantrums, telling me the way I'm going to move in with another man. I found someone better than him. And I even took him to the house where I was going to.
But let me ask you, that moment when you left, How did that, what kind of feelings were going through your mind as you were driving away and you know you were going to start a new life and start a new chapter? What emotions were going through your mind?
At first, I was very sad, but I wanted that peace. I wanted that peace. Though it was very scary. This is someone you've lived with for 8 years.
Yeah.
And now you want to start living all by yourself. It was scary, but I said, let me take that chance and start it all by myself. So, because he accused me one of leaving, told his parents, I'm the one who left. He was telling people, she's the one who left. She's the one who left. So, I took him to my house where I moved into, so that he can just see that I'm not living with any man. I wanted him to understand that our situation is what was making me leave. I didn't feel safe with him anymore, and that is why I was leaving. And I wanted him to stand on his own, because I was blamed for enabling him, for taking care of him too much until he could not do things on his own. So that is what I wanted for him. And for me, I wanted peace because I didn't feel safe. So he still saw that I didn't live with any man in that house. It was just me and my daughter. But he still continued accusing me and blaming me for leaving him. And I remember his mother said that I'm leaving his son at a wrong time when he doesn't have a job. And I told him, Mom, it has not been easy for the 8 years.
Yeah.
And even you know the things we've been going through. But you didn't even make an effort to help us.
Yeah.
Yes. So at that point, living hard with my daughter was hard because she kept on wanting her dad.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to start telling her, oh, we're not living together, because I didn't want to bring issues and start telling her about the issues we were having. I just wanted her to be a child and grow. When she gets older, probably one day she will understand. And it was not easy. It was not easy because he told people that I work with who are my friends. And at work it was like, yule msichana ameacha bwana yake. Winnie has left the husband. She has moved out. And people see you and think you want now their husbands because you've left yours. And
Did you feel stigmatized for walking away?
I did. After some time I did, because I was the talk of our workplace. Everybody was talking about me the way I've left my husband.
And how about church?
Church, at first, they wanted us to get back together. But before I left, I remember we tried counseling sessions.
Yeah.
And the counseling sessions we were not making progress. Because I would pour my heart out and say what I'm feeling, the pain I'm having, and what I feel he has done to me to make things worse at this point. But he didn't own up to just apologize, and also he kept on throwing everything back at me. And I think we had 3 counseling sessions, and they didn't bear any fruit. And I said, it's not worth it. Probably with time he will see what is happening and probably apologize. And it got lonelier. It was very lonely. And I remember after that, if a man would hit on you, he would hit on you because he pities you.
Yeah.
You've left your marriage. You are having 1 kid. You're a single mom, and you've left your marriage. So someone wants to be with you because they pity you. They think they're doing you a favor. And I remember I brought that on myself, because if anybody who hits on me would ask me, tell me about your past relationship, then I would say I left because of certain issues, and then they will feel sorry for me. And I think I reached a point and I said, I think I don't owe anyone an explanation about what happened in my past life.
True.
If someone asks me even right now, I always say, we broke up because of irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
Yes, because I don't owe you an explanation. If you want to be with me, fine. If you don't want, it's okay. But it has not been easy. I think there's a time I used to even drink myself to sleep.
Wow.
Because he used to send me messages blaming me, and I used to bear that burden. I've done a wrong thing. I've left. But on this other side, I'm like, even if I go back, has he changed? Is he a different person? And I remember he would even call me once, call me twice. If I don't pick, he would send text messages that if you read, you just break down. I used to cry. I was even told, block him. I could not even block him. Stop reading his messages. I used to cry, and at times I used to drink myself to sleep.
Wow.
And I think at some point I became an alcoholic. I used to drink.
It was your coping mechanism.
Yes, especially when my daughter was not around, probably during holidays. I used to take her to my sister. And I just used to drink. I could only sleep when I've drunk. And the messages that he used to send were so hurtful. And I blamed myself for long, for leaving. I've left him. I'm the one who has done a wrong thing.
You blamed yourself.
I blamed myself because he kept on saying, and during the entire marriage, you're just cheating. Wow. So, like, I blamed myself for a lot of things that I even didn't do for the sake of peace. And I remember there's a time he told me that he has changed, he's sorry. But every time I would tell him, what are you sorry for? He wouldn't like pinpoint the things that he was sorry for. He was just, I'm sorry for everything that happened. What happened? I need you to tell me and own up and tell me I'm sorry for this. Because me, I've told you I'm sorry for A, B, C, D. What are you sorry for? And he could not say it, even up to this point. He just says he has changed, he's sorry. But if I tell him, I felt you did A, B, C, D to me, that's why I left. You did this. And then he's like, are you sure I'm the one who did them?
Wow.
Like, it makes me look mad. And I'm like, was I
you feel
in
you're
that
being
relationship?
gaslighted.
Yeah, I feel that probably I'm the one who is not thinking straight. Probably I'm just assuming
You're
things.
doubting yourself.
Yes, I started doubting myself. And I was like, I don't think, probably he didn't do it. Probably he did it. But for me, the accountability that I wanted him to take was just to apologize for me for and state everything that he did to me. Even right now, if I tell him I got tired of becoming the breadwinner, he was like, but I was doing other things. Like, can you name for me what you were doing? He cannot name anything. But he thinks I'm the one who has a problem. I'm the one who left. So it is my fault.
And now let me ask you, even as I know you have so much to say, but I know in the interest of time, we're going to wind up.
Okay.
How has co-parenting been like? How has it been like? And I know sometimes it's unfortunate that children are children. They will love their parents regardless of who they are, just like we love our children regardless of who they are. But how has co-parenting been? Has it been peaceful? What has it been like? Are you getting support towards your child? Is it supporting the child?
Co-parenting has been hard. Has been hard because I think we always have discussions on how we want to do it. Initially, we agreed that because I'm the one who used to do everything, I didn't have a house girl back then. So I know my daughter's routine, school routine. So I said, let me stay with her over the week because of school. Then you pick her over the weekend. He picked her like 3 times. And then he was like, why am I picking her over the weekend? So that you can go and hang out with men during the weekend. And I was like, I'm not doing this to hang out with men. His excuse is always about me and men, all through. So I told him, it's fine. I was just doing this so that you can have a relationship with your daughter. But if you cannot pick her over the weekend, I can as well stay with her over the weekend. Like, it's not a big deal. I was just doing that because he cannot manage her routine for school. Waking up and preparing her and ensuring she goes to school. Yeah. And I know as a man, it is not easy. That's why I took up that role. And then he was like, now I need to come and see her in your house.
Wow.
And I was like, you don't pay bills in my house. It is my house. Like, my house is my safe space. And I don't want you in my safe space. So I remember there's a time he came to my house at 10 p.m. at night, making noise. He wants his child. And I was like, what? Even if I give you your child right now, where will you go with her at 10 at night?
Yeah.
And I remember I even reported to the police. And I was told the next time he comes, we'll pick him up. He came a second time. And I told him, you cannot come to my house at night until you want your child. That's an excuse. I felt that he's using the baby just to get to me. And I said, fine, you can come to the house to see her, but you have to tell me when you're coming to see her.
Yeah.
So we agreed he comes on Fridays. So he used to come on Fridays, but it reached a point now he used to come anytime. At times I'm just sleeping in my room. My daughter is like, Mom, Daddy is here. And I'm like, you didn't call?
Yeah.
You didn't communicate? Or are you coming to my house unannounced? So I didn't want to have an argument with him when my daughter was there. And he's someone that we can agree to do one thing this point. He will do it for a month, then he will do his own things. It's like we didn't talk about it. So co-parenting has been hard. And I even moved from where I was staying because of him. Because I want my space. He's just all over my space. Even healing becomes difficult because he wants to be there. You're not staying in one house, but he wants to be all over your space throughout. So I told him, you're not allowed to come to my house. If you want to see your child, you can see her. You can tell me, I can bring her wherever you are. At times, I find he has gone to school without telling me. I pay for lunch. He goes to school, picks my daughter, takes her to lunch, brings her back. Pesa ya lunch usiku imeenda hivyo.
Wow.
So his problem is communicating. He doesn't communicate. He wants to do things the way he wants. And that has been so hard. And financial support, he's throwing money here and there. But if you tell him, I want you to pay this bill, probably I want you to pay his transport, it is this amount, he will send you 1,000 bob. And I'm like, I wanted you to cover this one so that I can cover this other one. He doesn't. He says, I send you money when I feel I have.
So there's no consistency.
There's no consistency in supporting the child. He would go see my daughter and carry snacks. And that excites my daughter
Of course,
more
of
than
course.
anything. But now when I give him a bill to pay, he doesn't. And I remember it reached a point I said, let us open an account for the baby. Then instead of giving me money, just send money there so that it can be easily sorted out. That was also an issue. You've opened an account without informing me. Why are you doing things on your own? Now you want to raise that baby on your own. So it is push and pull. It is not easy. And even if we sit down amicably and have a conversation, he doesn't follow through it. So it is difficult. But I think I just need to put my foot down. I'm not telling him he cannot see his child. We need to have an arrangement to see the baby because we even went to children's department, he refused to speak. So we could not have a discussion about structured visits. So it is not easy. It is not
Wow.
easy. Yeah.
Wow. And I can only imagine what that can be like. And I think my final question to you would be, where are you at in your healing journey?
I think I am getting there. I think I've enabled him to have access to me, and I think he knows which pointers to press. And I think probably he's using the baby to get at me. But I think at this point, I've just learned to be more firmer.
Yeah.
My house is a no-go zone. He cannot come to my house. If he cannot see the baby outside my house, then that is his own problem.
Yeah.
He needs to just find a way to deal with it. And also, I've tried as much as possible to restrict conversations with him. If he calls and he wants to talk to the baby, I think that is the only thing that he can do. I've tried as much as possible to... My daughter knows. Because they reached a point that there are things he used to tell my daughter about me. That I'm the one who doesn't want us to be a family.
Wow.
I don't want us to stay together. It is mommy who does not want.
Wow.
And my daughter now, when she picks his calls, she puts loudspeaker so that I can be able to hear the conversations they're having. Because I told him to leave the baby out of it. This is between me and you. If you're having issues, it is us. Let her grow as a child. When she's grown enough, she will know the things that happened. The reason why we are not together and we are not staying together. And I think at the back of his mind, he assumes one day I will go back. But I don't think that will happen. Because
You
throughout
made up
this...
your mind.
Yeah, this is the third year. And I think I left in 2021. Yes. And I think for me, he has not changed.
Okay.
Yeah, he has not changed. So I don't think we can have a discussion on staying back, on staying together again. Yeah, because I'm
Okay.
not seeing change.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, Winnie. I would like to say thank you very much
thank you.
for, allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Um, the Unmasquerade show is all about going into the depths of vulnerability. And I want to apologize for what you've been through. I mean,
Thank you.
no woman deserves that. No man deserves that. Everyone deserves respect, grace, and love. And I just hope that anyone who is watching who is going through an abusive relationship and who is struggling to get out. But maybe before I give my parting shot, what would you say to someone who is going through your situation? What advice would you give them in about like 30 seconds? Just let us know what kind of sort of advice would you give to someone who is struggling to get out and they think it's not possible.
What I can say is identify your support system. My mom and my sisters have been my support system. They get me. They've held my hand when I was low, when I can't even take care of my child, when I'm emotionally damaged and I can't take care of my child. They would take my child in. So identify your support system and people who can hold your hand. And it is possible to have a healthy relationship. It is just possible to move out, make that decision. Don't blame yourself. Don't blame yourself. We go through several things in life, but learn to forgive yourself, learn to give yourself grace, and identify your support system. If it is not working, you need a peace of mind is the most important thing.
Wow.
And your life is important because you have people who depend on you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And like she said, what I always say is that, and if I would all urge you, anybody who can relate to this story, go back to our episode about the psychology of abuse, the episode that we have had here with the psychologist. I think that would also help shed a lot of light.
Yeah.
I will just say love yourself enough. I would say don't stay in that abusive situation. It never gets better, it only gets worse. When you stay in silence, you enable the abuser. So please be strong and please, and I would also like to ask the church, let's be real. Let's be real. In as much as we want to protect the sanctity of marriage, let us also protect the sanctity of life. So give the right, guidance to people who are going through abusive homes. It's okay to walk away. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Be blessed. If you need any help, please write to us at the unmasqueradeshow@gmail.com and we'll be able to get you help. If you'd like to come on to our show, please reach out to us on the same email or write to us through our social media pages, The Unmasquerade Show on Facebook, and we will be glad to help. Thank you so much once again, and I wish you a beautiful, blessed day. Bye.